It is not a lifestyle. If it was a lifestyle, I wouldn't have been with him even with them stories. It's not like he had any checks or residuals or anything. I've been taking care of us. It's been on me, not him.
She's the judge who gives rules on the law and life. She's intense with common sense. She's Judge Lynn Toller on Divorce Court, where real couples deal with real life. 32-year-old Hope and 42-year-old Kevin met 7 years ago through an online dating site. They dated long distance for 4 years as Kevin beguiled Hope with his charm and stories of playing professional basketball overseas. But once Hope and Kevin married, only 8 short months ago, the curtains were pulled back and the truth about Kevin's true identity was revealed.
You told her that you were single when they met, when in fact you were married. Is that accurate?
That too. I forgot about that.
Our issue with our marriage is about a lot of other issues, but the main one is intimacy. I'm at high speed, she's at no speed.
Hope says she's had enough of Kevin's lies and alibis. Today on Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lynn Toller presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Sarhonda, Hope Shannon French, and Kevin Kemp. The two of you have been married for 8 months. Ms. French, you don't want to be married anymore. Mr. Kemp, you're seeking to save this marriage. If you are unable to do so, however, Ms. French, you are seeking some recompense for fraud, and we will talk about that momentarily. But before we do, I will start with you and ask you to tell me a little bit about your marriage and why you are in divorce court here today.
Your Honor, I have been bamboozled and hoodwinked. I met this man 7 years ago, Kevin. He's been telling the same lies for 7 years now.
It's got nothing to do with it, y'all.
Yes, it does. It got everything to do with it.
Tell me about some of the lies that he's told you.
Okay, to start with, he was supposed to have been this big-time basketball player that got recruited. His lies are so vivid, Your Honor. You can't help but believe him. Supposedly, he had a milestone, you know, when he realized that black-on-black crime wasn't good because his teammate died in his arms. They had on the blue Cal Berkeley colors on the wrong side of town, and his teammate was shot and died in his arms. He couldn't take college no more. From there, he supposedly got recruited to go play semi-pro ball in Italy. He played in Italy, then the Spurs, and then the Spurs coach came and got him from Italy. He tried out for the Spurs, made it. Then he had to go home to save his sister because her boyfriend was jumping on her, and he ended up being stabbed and lost a lung.
That's true.
Which he's missing a lung. But the story all around how he lost that lung,
not true.
And the story of him coming home to save his sister upon celebrating for being in the Spurs, not true. Everything has been a lie.
What, now, Mr. Kemp, did you tell her all of these things?
Your Honor, this ain't she got her L's mixed up.
Mr. Kemp, you're going to have to respond to my question. I want to know, did you tell her that stuff?
I didn't tell her all that stuff, and some of it's true, but a lot of it's not.
You lying. You told me all of that.
He told me, he broke it down
to what his people even look like. He trained me. He physically trained me for a few months before I didn't get any results. He trained me based off of what his Korean nutritionist teacher taught him in college in Cal Berkeley. Yeah, this is what so-and-so did for me in Cal Berkeley. This is how I got big. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it.
This ain't got nothing to do with America.
He described this man.
Did you go to Cal Berkeley?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
The problem is it's the lifestyle that she's concerned about.
Well, you tell me about it.
It's not the lifestyle. You have lied about everything.
Miss French, let him finish. Go ahead.
Our issue with our marriage is about a lot of other issues, but the main one is intimacy. I'm at high speed, she's at no speed. She don't take consideration for the little things that I do. She's all into this Hollywood thing. She's a big Angelina Jolie fan. And like I told her all the time, if you want Brad Pitt, go get him. I'm Kevin Kemp. That's how it is.
Did you tell her all of those stories because you knew that's what you would need to get her?
In a way, yeah, probably so. I said, because
he been telling these lies to everybody, the pastors,
she always tell me she won't romance.
Hey. Nothing will get resolved if we all speak at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Kemp, so you do admit that you told those stories because you do believe you wouldn't have got her without them?
I don't believe, I think I would have got her without the story, because that came
Then
later
why
on.
tell
like
them?
I said, it's just, I don't know, like I said, it's a lot of other issues that went on.
Now, Miss French, had he come to you and told you that he was really who he was and not some guy from Cal Berkeley who'd been to Italy and then brought back by the spurs and stabbed by the sister, would you have been with him? I mean, were you looking to hook on to that life?
It's the lifestyle.
Don't lie.
Ma'am, no.
It's the lifestyle.
No, it is not a lifestyle. It is not a lifestyle. If it was a lifestyle, I wouldn't have been with him even with them stories. It's not like he had any checks or residuals or anything. I've been taking care of us. It's been on me, not him.
So even though he said he's done all these things, he had no money to show for it, and you knew that.
Right.
And you also knew that he couldn't play because he was absent alone.
Right. So it's like one of those things where you feel sorry for somebody and you
she
love
always
the
talk about
person.
romance all the time, but it's really about finance. That's what it's about.
Okay. Well, you never had any finance.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. If I was about finances, Your Honor, I wouldn't have been with him.
When Divorce Court continues, will Kevin explain his fascination with Italy?
What's this thing with Italy?
I don't know. What's the thing with Italy?
Obviously, she likes Italy too. I mean, I do like Italy. I love a lot about it, but I do want to go there one day.
Are you ready to call it quits only months after the wedding? Call toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or visit our website at divorcecourt.com or become a fan at facebook.com/divorcecourt.
Divorce Court is back with the case of Hope French, who claims everything her husband has ever told her was a lie. But should Kevin be penalized for his past?
My past has nothing to do with how I'm living with her. Like I said, I'm there all the time.
Well, you tell me how you're living with her now.
I'm living with her, like I said,
What kind of guy are you?
I'm a good father, I'm a good husband. I don't cheat on her, I haven't done any of these things.
You told her that you were single when they met, when in fact you were married. Is that accurate?
That too. I forgot about that. That too.
She was living with a fiance at the time that I first talked to her as well.
Okay, so
but
that would be
I wasn't
yes.
lying about it.
She didn't
So
tell
that
me
would
that.
be
When we
yes.
first talked to her,
Everything.
Mr. Kemp,
like I said, me and my wife was separated at the time. My ex-wife was separated.
I didn't find out he was still married till he had already moved in 4 years later. That's when I found out he was still
married. Like I said,
married.
I found out also because me and my ex had got a signed paper. I signed papers and she didn't file it. And I didn't know about that.
So you didn't know?
I didn't know.
You just weren't aware?
I wasn't aware of it until we tried.
Could it have been a mistake?
I don't think so. I really think, at this point, I believe everything is like, the reason why he moved in was because he was supposed to be having an IT job in Italy. He moved in December.
What's this thing with Italy?
I don't know. What's the thing with Italy?
Obviously, she likes Italy too. I mean, I do like Italy. I love a lot about it, but I do want to go there one day. But my thing is...
Hang on. Let's talk about how deep that is.
Okay.
You have a whole fantasy life.
I live
that
a
you
real life.
structured over a 5-year period, and none of it was true. It was all deep, and it was so complicated and detailed and specific. Don't you find the fact that a person would engage in that to be disconcerting? And wouldn't you imagine that if you found your wife had an adventure story.
I had that
for
before.
a past.
I have had that.
And that's why I don't understand why you did it to me. He had that before, but then you do it to me.
My past has nothing to do with how I'm living with her. Like I said, I'm there all the time.
Well, you tell me how you're living with her now.
I'm living with her, like I said,
what kind of guy are you?
I'm a good father. I'm a good husband. I don't cheat on her. I haven't done any of these things.
You're a good father and a good husband.
Yes, ma'am.
What makes you a good father?
Good father. I'm concerned about my kids. I'm in my day-to-day life with my kids. We do homework together. I do everything I can for my kids.
Does he do that?
Yes. Yes, but Your Honor, but they have been lied to too. You have to, they can't even play basketball without being like the top of everything, or everything
I want my kids to be good.
Everything is about his dedication. When he played semi-pro, when it was like this, it was like that. You have to be like me, you have to be better than me. Everything.
That's true, they need to be better
goes
than me.
back to these lies.
Do you tell
I'm trying
your
to get
children?
you to understand that.
Like I said, they have called.
Are you selling them that fantasy too?
No, I'm selling them the fantasy of wanting them to be better.
You told them
But
that too.
are
You
you
told
backing it up
everybody
with things that aren't true?
At some point, yes, ma'am.
Okay. How come you can't let that go?
I can let it go. I've been trying to do that now.
No.
I said, because like I said, I really haven't been in most relationships I've been in. It really wasn't about my past. It was about the present and so on. With her, it's been more about the past.
You're presently telling your children that you were playing pro ball, and that's not true.
I didn't, like I said, yes, ma'am, I was wrong for that.
Okay.
When divorce court continues, did Kevin trick Hope into marriage?
You told my people that you didn't have to get married.
He didn't.
Like I said,
we
didn't
to
really
me.
have to, because I could have just moved out and we lived separate and still keep it like that. That's the only way it could have worked.
If you would like your case heard on Divorce Court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com and follow us on Twitter @DivorceCourt. Divorce Court returns with the case of Kevin Kemp, who claims his wife is stuck in his past. But will Judge Lynn order Kevin to pay Hope $5,000 for fraud?
We've been married now for about 228 days or so. He's been lying for 7 years. If you do the math, that's about $22 a day. I think I'm worth way more than that.
You say you didn't have the wedding you wanted. Tell me about the wedding.
He finally got a job. He was working for a church. The church found out that we were not legally married. Supposedly they came to him and told him we needed to get married or he would lose his job. He asked 4 days, it was that Friday, by the end of that Friday, for us to get married and have a marriage license or lose his job. Well, Your Honor, I had been taking care of everything financially. I was finally being able to breathe a little bit. I sure didn't want him to lose the job. So we agreed that we would go ahead and get married. I asked him, I said, go and make sure we can do it September 18th at least, because that's our day. That was 2.5 weeks away. That Friday, that supposed deadline came and went. He never asked for September 18th. He never got it approved. Nobody came and said, you done lost your job. So basically, 2.5 weeks, I'm still getting married in Vegas. You know what? You over there talking. Your Honor, I can show you better than I can tell you. I can show you better than I can tell you. Because the whole marriage was about him keeping his job. I made us get married as cartoon characters because I did not want the wedding.
I wanted to get married. What the? I know the hell, I know. What is that? I don't.
I knew you was gonna come in here lying.
Like I said,
Stop
she made
lying.
me, this was all on her thing. I wanted to get married to her before that 18. It had nothing to do with the church and all that. You see what I'm saying? A rabbit. A rabbit.
Yeah, but you put those rabbit ears on.
Because I loved her. That's what I did it for her.
You told my people that you didn't have to get married.
He didn't.
Like I said, we didn't really have to, because I could have just moved out and we lived separately and still keep it like that. That's the only way it could have worked.
Now, see,
But
now,
as
Your
for the
Honor,
church,
now I
would've had
know
to.
from him saying that, if I believe what he just said, he can move out and get his own place. But now he's
Like I
saying
said.
that was an option.
Like
Yeah,
I said,
I hear what
like I said,
Because we could have did that.
I had no
said
idea
that.
what her. I was being told that
I was
simply.
on my way there when I
gotta
told
get
you.
married.
Mr. Kemp,
You lying again.
you can't
No, it
even
ain't.
keep your lies straight. You're
He
not
can't.
You're not even good
He
at it.
can't. Because when
Man,
I
that's nothing to
told
do-
him,
that's-
when I
that's-
told him I was going
There's
to
no
talk
need to argue about
This
it
is not a
anymore.
lie. They told me simply, explained 2 occasions that if I don't get married, pretty much will lose the job.
Pretty much, will lose your job. You
Yeah.
told.
He lost the job anyways.
Hang on. You told my people that never really happened. That they really didn't hold your feet to the fire.
I mean, he
You
discussed it
told
twice.
us that.
No, what I told him that I didn't have to get married. I didn't have to. I could have did other options. But the main option, in order to keep that job, I had to be married.
Did you lose the job anyway?
They
Yep.
laid me off a few months later.
When Divorce Court continues, Hope's final straw.
His family member came to my Facebook page talking about, yeah, I heard what you was talking about my other family member. And it wasn't cool. You was out of order, boo-boo.
Divorce court returns with the case of Hope French and Kevin Kemp, who are calling it quits after 8 short months of marriage.
Why don't you tell me what the final straw was, Ms. French?
I believe he was dogging me out like he did all his other exes to his family. His family member came to my Facebook page talking about, yeah, I heard what you was talking about my other family member. And it wasn't cool. You was out of order, boo-boo. And if you feel this way about it, boo-boo, and you can take your own money and pay for her home, boo-boo, because none of that, this and that, boo-boo, boo-boo, boo-boo. So I responded, and I said, are you talking about? Right? So on my way home, never a response, never nothing. So I walked in the house, he was on the couch. I said, can you get your family member on the phone? I need you to get him on my phone. Why? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, Hope? I said, I'm not gonna tell you. So he put the phone on speaker so he could hear his family member, or I could hear his family member. And he goes, what's going on? Oh, I was just trying to ask her why she said that about our family member. Right?
Right.
And he's like, what are you talking about? Where'd you hear this from? His family member kind of stumbled. He was like, from
Another
family member, a name. So I felt like it was all a lie. He knew that he probably heard it from Kevin.
And didn't want to admit it.
Right, because the way Kevin came at him.
What's your response to that? Tell me about...
I had no idea what was going on with that.
So you don't know what happened?
I have nothing to do with that.
Well, now, Ms. French, you're seeking $5,000 for fraud.
Yes,
from
ma'am.
Mr. Kemp. Explain that to me.
Well, okay. I did the math, Your Honor, and we've been married now for about 228 days or so. He been lying for 7 years. If you do the math, that's about $22 a day. I think I'm worth way more than that, but he needs to pay me for my time.
Mr. Kemp, your response to that?
She shouldn't get anything about paying for time. I did the same amount of time. Anything I lied about in my past had nothing to do with the present and the life I was living with her. None of that. I was a good husband. I was a good father. I did my part on the whole deal, so I don't see anything what I did wrong with that. I did lie about things in the past. I do admit that. But as for my present, how I live with her, it was genuine. I genuinely cared for her.
Okay, Mr. Kemp, I do believe you genuinely care for her. I do believe that you genuinely love her. I also do believe that you may be a pathological liar and that you can't stop, that it just happens to you. You open your mouth and it just kind of bubbles up, and whatever you need, and then the next thing you know, you so deep into Italy, you just, it's all over. But the deepness here is this. I do think you defrauded her. I think you conned her into marrying you. You told him I was going to lose my job, I got to get married. She said a lot of that was with a great deal of detail, and it is consistent with what you do with a person. You cannot defraud people. You cannot tell them lies and get them to do what you want them to do based on falsehoods. And I think $5,000, I'm not going to say it's 22 bucks a day. I'm just going to say it's rough justice. It's punishment for defrauding her, and she's entitled to it. $5,000 in favor of Miss French. It is so ordered.
All rise! Parties may leave the courtroom.
Hope says that after the show, though she had hoped Kevin would listen to Judge Lynn's advice and make an attempt to change, he went back to his old lies. She says that Kevin acted very caring until she refused his advances, and then the real Kevin came out. A heated argument ensued, and she felt it was best they go their separate ways. Kevin says that after the show, he and Hope parted ways. He says that he has tried long enough to please his wife, but she never is satisfied. He is hoping that in time she will see that he is a good man and that he truly loves her.